Yo, what's up? This is Nalo with Word in the Hood. Truth lives. All right, I'm about to talk about some things for the young ones. Well, just for everybody, really, but mostly for the youth. You know how that goes. This podcast is about keeping it real, man. Keeping it real for the youth and for our community. And for those stuck in the middle of what was in their mind, what could have been. People not making it where they should be making it to, and what's holding them back. Let's be honest. You might be out there chasing respect, loyalty, money, or just trying to survive. What we're going to be talking about is, what if I told you it was your mindset, not the block you come from, not the people around you that's holding you back. It's you. Man, I grew up thinking that the hood, man, is where it was at. I grew up thinking that that's what life was about, man. I grew up with the understanding that, we're in the hood and this is where we're going to be. So I decided that, okay, if that's where I'm going to be the best I can be at what it is I'm doing. Man, I wish I would have had a better mindset back then. It was all about the gang life for me. And I believed that was hard, man. I was willing to do anything for it. But at the time, that was my reality. Those beliefs weren't true, man. They were just thoughts that were implanted in me by generations of the same thing. What I believe now and what I want you to understand is that your beliefs pretty much shape your behavior. If you believe that that's all you have, you're going to fight for it. You're going to do whatever it takes to make the best of that life that you have. Those are your beliefs, man. If you believe that that's not where you belong, then you're going to start looking for something other than. But most people get stuck in the hood because they believe that that's where they belong. They believe that that's all there is for them. The way we are is we act on what we think is true. Not what's real. We act on what we believe to be true. And that's how I was living my life. And I'm here to share with you that if you have a different mindset and you understand what else there is out there, what else you could be doing, it's going to change the way you think. It's going to change the way you live. If you believe you're stuck, you're stuck. It's simple as that. If you believe that's all there is for you in life, that's all there is for you in life. There's this old saying that a friend of mine literally just did a short video a couple of days ago with the same thing. He said, your words, you're a creator. Don't speak bad things into existence. Don't say, oh, this is so hard, or life sucks, or I suck, or this, that, and the other. And it's powerful because that's how it is. You cannot speak negativity into your existence. And those beliefs are just as bad or just as powerful as speaking them into existence. If you believe that this is what you are, then that's what you're going to be. Your brain doesn't know the difference between your imaginary negativity and what's real. Believe that you're not good enough, you'll tolerate mistreatment. Believe that this is all you have, you'll never ask for anything more. If you believe this is all you're entitled to, you'll never ask for anything more. You'll never seek anything more. That's the big thing that I'm trying to get across, is that your mind is that powerful and your beliefs are that powerful. One of the reasons why you stay in the streets. We don't stay in the streets because we're evil or dumb. We stay in the streets because it gave us something we needed. A place to belong, some version of love or security. It's a big thing, man. You are comfortable around those you're comfortable around. You're comfortable around those that are living the same life as you, that have the same beliefs as you, whether they're negative or positive. Those are your people, those people that you're around, those people that you are hanging with. They're all there because of their belief system. They all might be fighting some type of self-esteem issues. They might be fighting some loneliness they don't have or they can't find at home, some camaraderie that they don't have or they can't find somewhere else. All of those things are real reasons why people stay stuck in the hood. You know, you believe those are your friends, and you know, why would you abandon your friends? You know, there's psychological traps. You know, the cognitive dissonance that I've talked about before. You know it's wrong, but you justify it anyway. You know some of the things you're doing or living in that lifestyle are absolutely wrong, but yet you justify it. You know, the violence, you justify it. Oh, those are enemies. Those are them guys, and they did this, that, or the other in the past to somebody that you might not even know, but yet you're still fighting a battle that has nothing to do with you. You know, the learned helplessness. You know, I see this a lot, man. I mean, it was probably part of my thinking when I was young. You failed so much, you stopped trying. You look for excuses. You know, I've said it a million times that I had every excuse in the book to fail. I had, you know, a dad that went to prison when I was real young. When he was home from prison, he was a gangster. He was a drug dealer. He was a drug addict. You know, so I was raised by a single mom for a long time. I believed I was poor, even though I wasn't. Now that I'm grown and realized we weren't poor at all. We were middle class. My mom had a decent job. The bills were paid. We had food in the house. But we heard things like that, like we're poor, you know, and then you believe those things. So you stop expecting life to be better because you don't expect it to be better. It's not going to be better. A big one is we fear changing. A lot of people, a lot of kids I talk to all the time, it's like, you know, I can't get out, you know, this, that, and the other will happen. And it's like, dude, it's not that difficult, man. You know, I tell kids sometimes, I say, listen, when they call you on Friday night talking about come party, tell them, man, I'm at work, or I got something I got to do with my parents, or whatever it is. So they're like, you know, you're a pussy, or you're this, that, and the other. You know, they're going to badmouth you for not coming out. And then the next weekend, they call again, hey, come on out. We're doing this party or whatever, this, that, and the other. Make another excuse. Man, I can't. I got to help my dad with this, that, or the other, you know, so I can't make it. And they're going to talk bad about you. They're going to have all kinds of stuff to say, you know, oh, you're soft. You need to get in the hood, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. The third week comes around again. Pretty soon they're going to stop calling you. They might talk behind your back, but pretty soon they're going to stop calling you, man. And it's just, you got a life. You know what I mean? Now, if they start coming to look for you, now, are those really your friends? You know, and these beliefs, man, they come from science. They come from the Bible. They come from metaphysics. Whatever your flavor is, you know, we can talk about it. These things that I'm telling you, they're real. They've been studied. They're proven. Your mindset has a big, big impact on how your life is. You know, it's when you believe in God, you believe in the universe or just energy, they all say the same thing. You create your life. You know, in the Bible it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In metaphysics, it says the universe responds to your energy. In neuroplasticity, it says your brain changes when your thoughts change. You got to stop saying I'm broke. You got to stop saying I'm dumb. You got to stop saying I'm having a bad day. That stuff is not harmless. Like I said, my friend did a video the other day. That's programming in your mind. The way you speak. Oh, I'm sick. If you say you're sick every day, guess what? You're going to be sick every day. If you always stop in the middle of a project, in the middle of a task, and be like, oh, this is too hard for me. I just don't get it. I'm not understanding. Yeah, you're probably not going to understand. You're never going to understand because you're already training yourself to not understand. You're giving yourself a way out. You should be saying stuff, I got to figure this out. I will figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. I got this. You know, I was talking to some people this week, and I basically said, listen, you got to have the mindset that if it's been done before, then you can probably do it. If it's been done before, then you can probably do it. You know, it's one of those things that there's nothing new under the sun. If it's been done, all you got to do is figure it out. All you got to do is whether it's train for it, whether it's prepare yourself for it somehow, some way. But if it's been done before, then you can do it too. Why wouldn't you be able to? You know, I talk about this too. Where did all these beliefs come from? Where did those negative beliefs come from? Where did you start learning that you weren't good enough? Where did you start learning that you can't do this, that, or the other? It didn't come natural. When we were little, we dreamed big. You know, when you were a kid in school, what do you want to be? An astronaut. I want to be an airline pilot. I want to be this, that, a fireman. We didn't have no limits on our imagination when we were kids. We weren't afraid to say those things. We didn't know what realistic meant. We didn't have fear. I mean, when we were kids, we were climbing trees, jumping out of trees, jumping off the roof. I remember my kids used to climb trees in the backyard, and we used to talk about jumping out of an airplane all the time. And then years pass, he's 18 or a little bit older than that. And I tell him, man, let's go do this jumping out of the airplane thing. He's like, man, that's crazy. I'm not going to do that. And I reminded him all the stuff he did when he was a kid. They used to go rock climbing without any safety gear. And his mindset changed. He started looking at the dangers of jumping out of a plane. And it's like, dude, where did that come from? Where did that fear come from? Because it wasn't there before. You know, when the Bible talks about have the faith of a child, you know, man, many people believe that. We were taught to fear by adults, by a school, by media, by people around us. Those are the things that limit us. It's not within us naturally. It is something that is implanted in us that we either accept or we don't accept. And the problem is that most of us have accepted these beliefs that are holding us back. You know, we lost our imagination, and our imagination is the spark of creation. Great ideals come from sitting back, just thinking of stuff like, you know, what can I do? How can I solve this problem? You know, when we're sitting in the hood and we're looking around and seeing all this violence, all this drugs, all this negativity, at some point in time, if you sit down and think about it, why am I around all this stuff? And really ask yourself. I learned something from somebody that I associate with. And he said, man, the 7 whys. Ask yourself the 7 whys. If you pick a topic, ask yourself the 7 whys. Why do I believe I'm poor? You know, ask yourself why. The first answer, be completely honest, completely as honest with yourself as you can. Once you have that answer, ask yourself again, why? Why was that the answer? And continue on. When you get to the 3rd or 4th time, you're getting pretty deep with yourself. You're digging down deep and finding out the real reasons why you believe the things you believe. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about negativity. Why do you believe that you can't get out of the hood? Why do you believe that these are your only friends? Why do you believe that this is the only life for you? You know, and it's going to be real simple once you start really asking yourself, you know, we have beliefs that are unjustified. You know, I share the story all the time. You know, I went to prison because my best friend let me take the fall. My best friend let me take the weight for something that wasn't me, something that was him. Why did I do that? My belief in loyalty, my belief that this guy was my best friend, you know, and the reality was he was none of that. Had he been any of that, he would have not let me take the weight for that pistol. He would have not let me go to prison for that. He would have stepped up and said, you know what, this is my friend. It is mine. But he didn't do that. And me, till the very last minute, I'm in trial. I'm convicted. And I didn't realize that this whole time that this dude wasn't my friend. How does that happen? How does that work? It worked because I believed the rules of the hood. I believed in the loyalty that was talked about in the hood. I mean, he didn't have that belief apparently. I did, and it cost me. The false belief in loyalty blinded me to the point that I went to prison. I did not see the red flags. The minute that I was in trial and they told me that he wasn't going to testify, that should have opened my eyes and I should have been like, wait a minute, whoa. No, that wasn't my pistol. but me sticking to the rules and him not sticking to the rules, I somehow believed that I was better than him because I was sticking to the rules and he wasn't. Why are you defending the beliefs you believe now? Have you thought about it? Have you asked yourself, why are you defending the beliefs that you believe now? Beliefs that are actually holding you back. Why are you defending them? Can you answer that? Can you ask yourself why and answer that in an honest way? If we can start doing that with everything in our life, things might change. Things might change dramatically. Another situation, I'm growing up and it turns out the leader of the mob is a rat. And we were all following this rat blindly. Even when people suspected he was a rat, they still followed blindly. After all these years of people putting this guy on a pedestal and all the shady stuff going on, all the signs, nobody wanted to believe it. Why? Because it was contrary to their initial beliefs. Their initial beliefs were, this guy's the man, this guy's this guy's that. So they didn't want to believe when the red flags were just flying all over the place. The code says that you follow the leader. But people break that code when it benefits them. So why are you so loyal to the code when people are breaking it around you all the time? You want to be the only one dying on that hill? How about you get away from that code and find a code that actually benefits your life? Family, friends, prosperity. Those things are things that you need to cling to. Those things are things that you need to look at and say, I believe that I'm entitled to prosperity. I believe that I'm entitled to great health. I believe that I'm entitled to be loved. I believe that I'm entitled to have good people around me. If we start with that mindset and really look around and say, okay, who doesn't fit into that picture? Man, things are going to be different. Our beliefs are a lot more than just knowing them. They are actually living them. The negative beliefs you have now, you're living them. You're not just thinking about them. You're trying to live those beliefs. How about we change those beliefs and put away the fear of failure and start thriving to do better in life? It gets so deep and I laugh about it all the time. Because those beliefs, we do the things that we do because we believe it's better for life, I guess. And when you have a set of negative beliefs, you think you're doing the right thing, even though it's absolutely contrary to good health, safety, prosperity, loyalty. We do things that are off the wall. We want to go commit acts of violence because we think it's going to be better for the mob. We think it's going to be better for the hood if we eliminate a whole, sect of other people. And so we're in a gang war and we think that we're doing the right thing by being in this war. And we don't look at ourselves. We look at them as the enemy. And the reality is the enemy is right next to us. The guy that's pushing us to do these negative things, the guy that is sending us to do these negative things, the guy that's influencing us to do negative things. That's the true enemy. How do we break free from that? These people send us in a direction that causes a crash and burn sometimes. I watched, 30 something guys get arrested for stuff they did 18 years prior. I watched another 16 guys get arrested because they were all sitting around talking about plotting on each other. And it's crazy because they're plotting on each other and they decide, okay, well, we're going to send somebody to go kill this guy because we think he's a rat. And the guy that they're sending to kill, the guy they think is a rat, is the actual rat. It's stuff that movies are made of, man. It really is. It's so off the wall that it's stuff that movies are made of, you know. But these guys literally are sitting around with their beliefs that they have to get rid of this guy for the better of the whole crew. And it wasn't even the guy that was the rat. The guy that they were sending to kill the guy was the actual rat. You know, these paranoias, the paranoias of life. You know, look at your daily life. You're living in fear. Fear of losing your job, fear of losing your girlfriend, fear of losing money, fear of losing, you know, this, that, or the other. How does that disrupt how you would normally act if you didn't have those fears? You know, how about misplaced trust? You put your trust in your friend, thinking it's going to bring prosperity, thinking it's going to benefit you, to give this loyalty, to give this trust to this person, and it ends up getting you all muddy. It ends up, you know, he stabs you in the back. You know, it's crazy because it makes me think of this this thing. The devil you trust is more dangerous than the angel you question. Man, we question things because we don't trust them, you know, but yet we blindly trust those people that we should be questioning. You know, it's funny, right? Because when I was young, I was a criminal. I give my loyalty to other criminals. You know, it's funny. I give my loyalty to other criminals, knowing that they're criminals, knowing that they're dishonest people. But I give my 100% loyalty to them and not to my family. The people that are caring about me and telling me they care about me, they want me off the streets, they want me doing better for myself. I don't trust them people. I think they got an angle. They're not being upfront with me. You know, I had a situation where somebody I care about joined an apprenticeship program, and he went in there gung-ho saying, you know, I want to get a license. I want to get a license. I want to be licensed to do this. And somebody in there told him, nah, you don't want no license. It's too hard to get a license. And I remember him coming and telling me that, nah, I don't want to get a license. It's too hard. Only so many people get licensed and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking to myself, that person that told you that has ill motive. That person that told you that has a license. Why would he tell you not to get a license? He doesn't want you to get a license because he don't want you on the same level as him. As long as you're not on the same level as him, then he could exploit you for your knowledge and your labor. He can teach you everything he knows, but you'll still be under him because he'll be holding this little piece of paper that says, I got a license to do this and you don't. Why would anybody in the world tell you that you shouldn't better yourself? They have ill motives, man, and it's sad to see that. Now that you know beliefs can trap you, how are you going to get free? How are you going to get rid of those negative beliefs that are holding you back? Question everything, man. Ask the 7 whys about everything. You know, who taught you this? Why do you believe this? You know, find other people to look up to, people that are actually successful, people that are actually doing good things, and see how they're living. What's their mentality like? What do they believe? You know, those things are important, man, to look around yourself and say, okay, who is doing well? And who is always in a negative light? Who's always spreading negativity? Who's always living negative? Who's always got something bad to say about the next guy? And ask yourself, is that somebody that I really need to be around? Replace those people with more positive people, people that are doing well, people that are encouraging, people that want the best for you. You know, I remember as a kid, we used to distrust police. And not to say there's not bad apples, but for the most part, them guys are doing their job and we were criminals. You know, oh, they're harassing us. They weren't harassing us. They were just policing us. We were criminals. We were openly doing the knuckleheaded stuff. So, of course, they have a place to hang out. Well, we know them guys are always committing crime. Let's go see what they're up to. Do you think they're going to go hang out in the neighborhood where there's no crime? No. They might patrol those neighborhoods here and there, but if there's crime in my neighborhood, that's probably where they're going to hang out. That's probably where they needed to be. But we were so young and naive that we're looking at it and, oh, they're harassing us. They're harassing us. We're not doing nothing. Well, we might not be doing nothing now. That doesn't mean we weren't doing something a little while ago. We might have been doing something till they rode up. We might have been planning something. We were living a negative lifestyle and wondering why negative things were happening to us. Replacing those beliefs, man. How are you going to replace those beliefs? Replace those beliefs with daily affirmations. I am healthy. I am living a normal life. I belong in greatness. I deserve that job. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to have good friends. I am a good person. I am going to be good to other people. I am going to serve. Whatever it may be, think of the positive things that you should be telling yourself as opposed to the negative things that you believe. Can you make a list of positive things that you should be telling yourself? Make a list of the negative things you think about yourself. And how can you change those things? Take a look at your life and those people in your life and ask yourself, how is my life better with this person in it? How is my life worse with this person in it? Is this person causing me stress, drama? Is hanging out with this person going to get me locked up? I mean, those are really legitimate questions that you need to ask yourself. What happens if I get kicked out of school? What happens if I flunk out of school? What happens if I lose my job? What happens if I lose my wife? What happens if my kids don't want to be around me? Those things are things that you need to think about. How about, how can I serve this person? How can I be a better dad? How can I be a better boyfriend, better girlfriend, better husband? How can I be a better employee? How can I be a better student? Ask yourself those things. And if you start asking yourself those things and start applying those mindsets, you'll be surprised at how your life will change. But think about it like this, though. Your positivity might not be everybody's cup of tea. You might start acting more positive around certain people, and it disrupt the energy. It disrupt their life a little bit. And so you might stir up some negative energy from them. You got to hold true to yourself, though. You got to hold true to your change, because when somebody starts acting negative and you start thinking, well, I started being nice and now this person's mean to me, or this person is irritable. Well, maybe it's because your energy is no longer aligned. That person was cool until you started bettering yourself. Maybe that's what you needed to see. As long as you're negative, y'all get along just fine. The old saying, misery loves company. Those are going to be signs that you're doing the right thing, not excuses to give up on the positivity because you done made somebody else uncomfortable. Well, smile so much that if they can't handle it, they walk away. Then it's not on you no more. It's on them. They chose to walk away from you trying to better yourself. That should tell you everything you need to know. It goes back to the streets are not what they seem. Loyalty, rare. Brotherhood, often fake. But you're the real one. You got a calling. You just got to believe it. What are you going to do with it? If you're sitting here and you're still listening, why are you still listening? What in you is telling you that you know you need to make a change? What inside of you is telling you that you know you deserve better than where you're at right now? I used to say this a long time ago, before I even knew. When I was a kid, I used to say, nobody treats Nalo like Nalo treats Nalo. That came from me understanding that I had to do for myself. I had to do for myself a lot. I couldn't expect other people to do for me. I had to do for myself. And although I sacrificed many, many years to some false beliefs, I guess I always knew that I had to be there for myself. You know, be good to yourself. Be selfish. Be selfish. It's not a bad thing. That is a word that people have taken and turned it into a negativity. No, you have to take care of yourself. You have to keep yourself healthy. You have to do things for yourself that nobody else can do. And it's okay that anybody can call it selfish. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to ask yourself, is this person able to take care of me? Is this person going to take care of me? Who's in charge of my health? Who's in charge of my mentality? Who's in charge of my mindset? Who's in charge of my beliefs? That's me. I got to do that for myself. But at the same time, be good to other people. You will be surprised at how much your life changes when you're good to other people. If you feel lost, find a mentor. Find somebody that is doing positive things, that's willing to guide you and just share what it is that they do. And I guarantee you, you look at people that are successful, and one of the biggest things that you're going to find out is most successful people do for others without expecting nothing in return. Most people who are successful do for others without expecting anything in return. If it's not me, find somebody who's walking the truth, man. Somebody who is doing the right thing, and talk to them. See how they think. See what they believe. You know, I went to a seminar. I'll tell you who it was. It's Tony Robbins. And he was talking about having interviewed so many successful people. And one of the biggest things that he found was that they all give. They all give to others without expecting nothing in return. Man, that is powerful, man. You know, they say what you reap what you sow. You know, the energy you put out there is the energy you get back. You know, we're making full circles of that. If you're putting out a negative energy to people, that's what you're going to end up getting back. Put out positive to people and see how positive your life changes. Think of yourself. Do what makes you happy, man. What is it that makes you happy? Because the things that you're finding in the hood, those are things that are available. That's not all that's out there. You know, those are things that are at your disposal. That's what makes you comfortable, because it's at your disposal. Venture out, try new things, find out what else makes you happy. Not what other people expect from you. Find out what really makes you happy and chase that. Hobbies, sports, martial arts. For me, music. I love it. I listen to music every single day. Entrepreneurship. I'm always trying to hustle. I'm always trying to start something that can push me ahead. Whatever it is, use it to build your future. Use it to build yourself up. And get rid of the beliefs that are holding you down. Get rid of the beliefs that are holding you back. Question those beliefs and find out where they came from. Maybe you can find out the truth, and not just for yourself, but for somebody else, and be able to share with somebody else. Hey, man, you know that this is wrong, right? This thing that we're doing, this thing that we believe in is absolutely backwards. There's nothing wrong with that. You might get some pushback on that one, but do it for you. Don't worry about the next guy. If you can't pull the next guy out and he refuses to change, I mean, you got to do you. You got to look out for you. Because when it's all said and done, you are the most important person. You know, it's funny because I was on a plane last week. And when you're on a plane, they run through these safety requirements. And I was sitting in the exit row. If you're in the exit row, they ask you, are you willing to help others? Are you willing to take the responsibility from sitting in this exit row to help others in case something happens? Yes, that wasn't hard to say, yeah, I'm willing to help others. And then they start going through the little safety thing. If you lose oxygen in the plane, a little oxygen mask is going to fall down. And they say, if you are with a child or there's a child around you, put the oxygen mask on the child first. No. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help the child. Why do they say that? Isn't the child more important? Nope, because if you die, who's helping him? Help yourself first and then help others. Help others with what you've learned by helping yourself, you know? And I'm not saying to be that selfish in all aspects. You know, you want to put other people first, but as far as your health, your mentality, your survival, you got to do you first. Only then, only learning about how to be healthy, how to survive, how to heal your mentality, can you show somebody else. You can't show them until you save yourself. So you need to work on you first. Work on you. You know, when it comes to, I got a loaf of bread and we're both hungry, that's a different story. Here, you take half, I take half. You know, you can eat before me. When I cook for my family, I always feed my family first. Always. But when it comes to my health, I have to look out for number one. I have to look out for number one, because I guarantee you there's nobody else that's going to watch what you eat. There's nobody else that's going to watch what you consume. You know what I mean? That's something that's solely within your power. You putting something in your mouth, you putting something in your body, that's solely within your power. You putting something in your mind is solely within your power. You have to either accept it or reject it. Whether it's a book, whether it's a TV program, whether it's news, whether it's social media, whether it's music, you are in control of what you absorb into your mind. And if you absorb negativity, that's what's going to come out. If you absorb nothing but negative thoughts, that's what's going to come out. Find out why you believe in what you believe in. Ask yourself why you believe in what you believe in, and be honest with yourself about why you believe in the things you believe. And if they're negative beliefs, be willing to be adventurous. Be willing to cut those things off and try something new. Thank you guys for hearing me out. I hope you got something out of it. I know sometimes I ramble, but I hope you got something out of it. This is Nalo with Word in the Hood. I want you to be able to come here for truth. I want you to be able to come to me and ask me the realities of the hood, the realities of gang life, and me be able to tell you why you need to get away. Again, this is Nalo with Word in the Hood. Talk to you soon.